Don't wait for me.
Mhm.
And okay, and safe, and okay, okay, and there we are. We are
All right.
live. Matt, how you
Hey,
doing? How
good.
are
How's
you
it
this
going?
week?
Nice. Not bad. Not bad.
So it's really nice to be here again. So it's our third one.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to keep the momentum going. It's been great connecting with you every week to kind of explore new thoughts and concepts and see what we can do going forward.
Yeah, and I think the last week, even because the topic that we are talking, that we are, I don't know, it's not talking or discussing, it's just thinking and being curious about is the public information and the public knowledge.
Mhm.
And the question, actually, the what if invitation today is what if all the knowledge
Mhm.
becomes public? And over the last week, maybe over the last 2 weeks, there's this crazy thing about WhatsApp and Facebook and with the privacy. A lot of people, oh my God, no, I'm moving to Telegram. I'm moving to what's the name of the other one? Even
Oh, the
even myself, I did install the other one. That is the Signal.
signal.
Yeah, Signal. That's another one.
Yep.
But at the end, the discussion is the privacy. But the privacy is some concept about personal information. But
Mhm.
of course, we want to go deeper. Is what if the knowledge and becomes public? Every
Mhm.
single thing, every single data point becomes suddenly public for everyone.
Yeah.
Uh, so, what's your thoughts about this, Matt?
Mhm. No, it's great. I've got lots of thoughts actually. Imagine that, right? But it is a fun thing to explore because it's something we're dealing with currently. And it's also one of those things where I don't have a singular thought on it, right? I can easily
Yeah.
see it going a couple of different ways. If all of our knowledge is public, I could see, first of all, like, wow, what an amazing thing, right? Like, this would be a way for humans to actually do more together, and not just do more, but do better stuff together. Because if we all had access to the knowledge, we could all, collaborate and filter through it and do some really amazing things together. But then on the other hand, I think it could be that we do nothing with it at all, right? I think it's easy to think, well, it can be used for evil or whatever else, but think back to the early days of social media. You and I are both old enough to remember a world without Facebook or Twitter or anything else.
Yeah.
If people were to ask a similar question back then, like, what if the entire world could connect together in a way that was free and accessible, and they could share
Mhm.
whatever they wanted to, and they could get together and they could organize to do whatever they wanted to, and all they end up doing is sharing pictures of cats, or it gets into politics, or then the days of the cat pictures was the good old days. Right now, it's like, how do we manipulate elections and everything else? And even whether it's cats or whether it's manipulating elections, it really comes down to the apathy. It's like, we got all this technology, we've got all this stuff we can do, and if we're apathetic about it, either a few of, like we say, the bad apples, or a few of the right can just take over the entire thing and steer it completely off course, and maybe off the entire mountain, right? So I think about that when you initially ask this question. It's like, wow, we can do all of this stuff, but at the same time, could we also become so apathetic about the access to all the knowledge that it just takes, a few rotten people or organizations to then use that knowledge in a way that's harmful, or even just not,
Yeah, I will say, what if all the knowledge becomes public suddenly, or maybe tomorrow?
yeah.
That makes me think in another question. What do we need just to be ready for that situation?
Right.
Yeah, how do we get ready for that? Because yeah, I was thinking, yeah, some little history.
Yeah.
When I would say maybe the 18th century,
Hmm.
way back. 18th century, Europe and everything was dominated by the UK.
Mhm.
So basically, pretty much the world was dominated by the UK.
Yeah.
And then it becomes the industrial revolution, and of course the steamboat
Mhm.
appears in the scenario, and the thing is, oh my god, now we have access to the world.
Yeah.
But what actually the humanity and the humankind did with that power? Uh, 25 years later, we were in World War number one.
Yep. Yep.
And what? So now we have this huge science development, this huge potential of creating and changing um, our countries, our customs, our knowledge, and we use it in a totally different way that it was supposed to be used.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's very important. Is, are we actually ready to have that kind of power in our hands? Because yes, because some people will argue that, hey, but maybe all the knowledge right now is public. You go to the internet, you go to your public library, and then you have access to all type of journals. But how do you use this type of power? It's maybe it can, maybe we'll be able to create the next pandemic. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you're right. We could create it or cure it, but it's up to us, right? It would be, which is kind of weird. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I remember this president from the United States. Oh my God. I don't know. I always keep forgetting the name. The president who had polio.
Oh,
The huge memorial in Washington. Even what?
Roosevelt, I think Franklin Roosevelt,
Yeah.
FDR.
Right. FDR. One of the things that he used to say is, nothing is written. Nothing is written. But it depends. It's on us, actually. If for some reason we have access to any type of very, very valuable resource, now we have a huge responsibility. And having access to all the knowledge in the world, it creates enormous responsibility in everyone.
Yeah.
And not just the responsibility about how to use it, but how to I don't know, how to keep an eye on, how are you using it? Because are we really willing to use it, not just for my personal benefit, but of course for creating a better life for everyone? That might be a good reason, because other people will argue, hey, why?
Yeah.
Why it's important?
That's a good point. On a positive, a more optimistic note,
yeah,
if you think about it, if all of humanity has access to all of the knowledge, and maybe I'm too optimistic, but part of that knowledge should be, or would be, I would think, that we're all better off working together instead of apart, right?
Okay.
So technically, and maybe I'm wrong, that isn't knowledge, right? But if we could all access that knowledge point, let's say, right, then maybe it would drive us to not use it, for the next world war or for something, or the next, like, who knows, maybe that would be embedded in it. The other part that this makes me think about too is how this what if question, of course I love what if questions, but how that then changes the conversation about things like education, right? If, what if we all had access to the world's knowledge? Well, then that automatically makes 90% of education right now obsolete, because then we should be teaching or educating ourselves what to do with knowledge rather than how to acquire knowledge. Because currently, that 90% of education is all about knowledge acquisition. It's like, here's the lesson, now here's the test. Did you acquire the knowledge? But if we already have that, the focus would be on what do we do with this knowledge, right? how do we think and act critically with this knowledge? And then if we could take that what if and then just apply it to today, like, like you said, maybe we're not ready for this knowledge or we're not prepared for it. Well, then how do we prepare for it? One of those is education, right? Like, how do we have education that focuses on critical thinking instead of knowledge acquisition?
Yes. For example, even not just the K-12 education. I'm following your idea. Even the undergrad education is pretty much the same. Yeah. I'm thinking if you are studying, I don't know, engineering or software engineering or even aerospace engineering, now you have access to all the knowledge that SpaceX has as a company. Are you really ready just to go to this Elon Musk and say, hey, I know what you're doing, but I think that we can improve it even better. But the good thing is that if we improve it, now everybody will know and everybody will have access to the same kind of knowledge. And when you go to medicine, for example, and this is a good thing. I remember I was like 2 years ago, I was visiting the Washington State University in St. Louis. And it was this doctor, and he say, hey, Nestor, have you ever think, what if we have access to the knowledge to cure the cancer? And I was like, yeah, but I don't know. The crazy thing is that the most likely scenario is that we already have it, but we need to share it everywhere and with every single scientist and researcher around the world. The most likely scenario will be able to find it, to find a way to cure the cancer. But this is not the point. And he say, what if we are able to cure the cancer? Have you ever think what's the responsibility now? How do we, for example, what if we have access to all the knowledge? What are the maybe professions that we won't need anymore? Maybe it will be a group of, I don't know, the professionals, jobs that actually are trying to acquire the knowledge, but they say, hey, no worries at all. You are not needed anymore. Now you have to change. Everybody has access, even companies.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I love what you did there. You bridged it from education to business. Imagine, you mentioned SpaceX, not just for the student, but let's say you're an entrepreneur. What if as a company, you can no longer have secrets, right? You can no longer have proprietary knowledge. What would that do for competition, not just for learning in the education side, but what would that do for competition and innovation in that space if there were no secrets? So, Coke and Pepsi, they each knew each other's ingredients, right? That's oversimplified, but that would be interesting if that would make us more competitive or more cooperative, or what that would do. Who knows?
That's quite interesting because I would say the business game might have to change. Because it's not in what is a secret. It's how actually you deliver or how actually you serve your customer. How actually are you improving your customer life? It doesn't matter with the little pieces and the puzzle and the drawing and the layout and the crazy, I don't know, this is the ingredients from my secret formula, because there's no secret formula at all. It's I think we might be facing a world with more personal relationships, more instead of the how much is the value of our relationship actually for me with you as a customer. But that is based on control and the control of the private and the secrecy. But if we move, I don't know, if we move forward, I think it's a huge opportunity to improve the life of people really fast. For example, and I was thinking of one article that I was reading on the Business Week like 2 weeks ago, the last issue, and they were talking about this doctor in China who was put in jail because he was releasing some information about the patients with his peers across the globe. Because no, this is private information, and he was like, no, this is a public interest information. They put him in jail. At the end of the story, he died from COVID.
Wow.
Now China is a huge, promoter of sharing information about specifically the COVID-19. So I can think in many ways, of course, but if you think in terms of the humanity, the potential is huge. If you think in terms of business, of course, niche, small groups of super rich companies, is crazy. But I want to call this example that maybe is familiar for everybody. If you talk about Amazon, what's the secret behind Amazon? Pretty much it's no secret. So basically, you have a big warehouse, and you have people go to the online portal, and you can buy, or you can create a website. I don't know. You don't need the super secret to be able to create a website. So pretty much it's simple.
Yeah.
Of course, the more you sell, the more bigger you are, of course. But there's no secret. With this model, of course, it created the second richest guy in the world. But hundreds of small businesses actually are getting better because they have access to the knowledge.
Yeah.
They are using they are using the knowledge. You know,
access and use are two different. That's a good point.
Yeah. They have the two ways. So basically, it's good business. Actually, sharing is good business.
Oh, definitely. Well, and it's interesting too, listening to you talking about knowledge as it pertains to business, and as you bring up some of the most successful companies today, it is interesting. I think of that through the lens of a business model canvas, right? So 9 parts on a business model canvas. And if you were to tell me that everything was open source public knowledge, it would qualify pretty much for every one of the segments except for one that I can think of. And that's customer relationships. So you could use public knowledge for who the customers are, what your value, your revenue streams, even the key partners, even the logistics, right? The channels and everything else. But that relationship that you establish with your customer, and that the relationship, what they think of when they think of your brand, is something that you can't access from raw knowledge. That's something that you have to build over time with things like trust and confidence and being genuine, like truly caring about your value proposition that you're delivering. And it makes me think of Tony Hsieh, who died recently, but he started Zappos.
Oh my God, yes.
Right?
Sad story.
Yeah, very sad. And but he built Amazon bought Zappos for several $1 billion. And like you said, there was nothing really special about the technology. It was just selling shoes online. But what made Zappos different was the focus on customer service. They focus 100% on the customer relationship, right? And it's open source. He wrote books about it. But how, like you said, the difference between access and using, how many people or how many companies are actually using what he said made him successful as the customer relationship aspect, right? Some are, and some cite him, but not everyone.
Yeah, let me put here the canvas. Actually, I was looking in my other screen. So basically, we are talking about how we interact with customers, actually, and that's one of the most important things. In your reasoning, it changed. Okay, that's the one that is important, and now, hey, no, this is not the one. Actually, it's how do you interact with the customer, and how you help the customer. I remember, and it's really nice that you came up with the Zappos story, because I remember one of the Harvard Business cases for Zappos, and in one I don't know, one chapter of the business case, it recalls a story about this lady who called Zappos, and he was like, "Hey, I'm looking for the shoes that Nicole Kidman was using in the movie where she was acting with Al Pacino." and the lady from Zappos was, "What? Do you even know the name of the movie?" "No, I don't recall." And they were like, "Okay, let's go to Netflix." And they were Nicole Kidman and Al Pacino. Okay, that's the movie. Okay, what was which one? Do you remember if this was at the beginning of the movie, the end of the movie? "No, I don't recall, but I just remember the shoes, and it was beautiful." And these ladies, at the end, they were looking at they were looking at the movie. They were watching the movie for almost 2 hours. Yeah, until the lady from Zappos was able to, hey, maybe are these the shoes? "Oh yeah, yes, those are the shoes." And then 3 more hours, of course, looking at the inventory and the model and the pieces, and at the end, crazy stuff. It was I don't know, to make a long story. It was like a 6 hours conversation.
Wow.
Just to be able to sell a $100 pair of shoes.
Yeah.
And it totally changed the game.
Yeah.
And this guy was just I was a disruptor, but I was a real one, not just the guy talking about disruption. "Oh my God, this is disruption." And I remember that even I saw an interview of Tony, and he was saying the journalist asked him, "Hey, how many pair of shoes do you have, Tony?" And he was, "I have one." One.
Yeah.
And every time he turns away, I bought a new one. So because it's not too I don't know, the concept that it was very popular in the last century is how do I protect what I have? Is how do I share what I have?
Yeah, exactly.
And in sharing what I have, not just I have a better life, but a lot of people has access to many stuff. And for example, this might be a good question to ask a guy like Bill Gates. "Hey, Bill, what if everybody has access to all the knowledge in the world, including Microsoft?"
Yeah. Yep.
"Including your company."
Good. Yeah.
Not just your money, including your company.
Yeah.
What if?
Then how would that change your company? And it is interesting because there is somewhat of a precedent for this. I want to say maybe 6 or 7 years ago, GE, General Electrics, opened their back patents, and basically said, if you want to create something, go crazy. Oh, hey, we got to.
Yeah, Natasha Volkovka. Oh my God, beautiful name. Maybe she's from Russia.
No, from Macedonia.
Macedonia, okay.
Someone I've been telling, you two are long overdue to meet. So she's someone, So I'll fill you in all about. She's got great stories too. She knows more stories than I do, especially when it comes to how businesses communicate this customer relationship. But it is a nice little thought exercise to work with business owners or even entrepreneurs as a way to prove. Like I'm trying to get better at as a proof, like almost a mathematical proof. Like how can you prove that out of all of these things you need to do in a business model, how can you prove that the customer relationship, is the most important or the one you need to focus on the most? Is you can say, all right, well, what if all knowledge was public? What if you had access to everything Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates? What if you had access to everything that they did knowledge-wise? What would be the one blank that you would struggle on, that even if you knew what they did, you'd still have struggled with? And that would be customer relationship, right? And then that's where you realize that you can't, and this is where it's so great seeing Natasha here when it comes to marketing. This is where you can't make stuff up, right? When we talk about like what's your story or how you communicating your story, this is the way that the businesses can prove their customer relationship. I know Legos does a fantastic job about this. You can go to the Legos website and they have like, here's our story, and they go all the way back to like, they do it in multiple fashions, like timelines. I think they even created a YouTube cartoon that tells the whole story.
Yes.
Yeah, so they and a lot of companies are doing this, and I think it's one of those ways to prove that they have a genuine customer relationship. They're not just trying to take money, right? They really care about their value proposition, right? They're not doing it because they have to. They value it as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the value. It's not just the opportunity to protect the secret. And,
Yeah.
and right now, the COVID-19,
Mhm.
I would say one of the main reasons that we were able to come with the solution and with the vaccine so fast is because those crazy big super companies, for really, they were sharing information.
Yep.
But yeah, the people that were actually listening to us, and maybe they were asking, "Oh my God, how do I use this information that Matt and Nestor are talking about?" And I will say, "Hey, what if you go tomorrow to your company or to your friends or to your team, and you say, hey, what if all the knowledge that we have, we are willing to share it actually, and we don't care anymore about getting the next patent, but actually we get worried about how to use in a sense that creates value for our customer the knowledge that we have. And even if our customer want to know how we are building the thing, we are willing to share the information. It only changed the game.
Yep.
I don't know the answer, but that's why we have the what if. It's to call the curiosity and being curious and talk with your customer and go to talk with the government in your country. Hey, mayor or governor or even president, what if we share? And another good example is the top secret files about the UFOs in the USA.
I'm glad you brought it up instead of me. No, but and in fact, I've been listening to a lot of smart people. And I have to make sure, yeah. But there's a lot of conversations going on from smart people on this very subject, and they mentioned something that you said earlier. That, all right, what if there are aliens who are visiting and communicating with us? And one of the issues is, are humans ready to know that they exist? Yeah. And when you mentioned that, that's why I thought the same thing, because you're saying, well, we may not be ready or prepared to have access to all of the knowledge. The same way we may not be prepared to have access to the knowledge of aliens. And again, this is a thought exercise. You don't have to believe in aliens. But it is like, and again, the idea is like, what if they are there? But, and again, it's not completely crazy. This is what the movie 2001 was all about, right? That humans would, we can't just know everything at once, that we have to be brought along in stages and everything else. But again, whether it's true or not is besides the point. It's interesting to think about, like, what, we're apex predators, humans are, right? We're the top of the food chain, we're all of this. But what if there's stuff that we're not prepared for? What if there's stuff that we need to prepare ourselves for, whether it's knowledge or technology? It is interesting. So yeah, that's a long way of saying that you've got my mind thinking about things on what you're saying, from aliens to making better businesses. So
yeah, and I remember another example that I have written here in my notes. It's maybe you have you seen the movie Lucy?
I'm familiar with it. I haven't seen it.
Now you have to watch the movie. It actually is Scarlett Johansson. Scarlett Johansson, and it's I don't know, it's a great performance for Scarlett Johansson, this movie, and that's about this. It's somebody that for some reasons, I don't want to spoil the movie, but for some reason have access to all the knowledge in the world. And it has some parts of the movie that actually are very like a monologue
Well, yeah.
that you keep thinking, oh my God, what if this is a reality? Yeah, you have to watch it.
Yeah, all right. Now I love recommendations for good movies, because this is the kind. This is definitely something that would interest me, especially after this conversation. Yeah.
Because maybe it's not a movie that will win the Oscar for best actor, but it's the concept. It's so powerful that I will say, even myself, the first time that I saw the movie, I let pass many things.
Yeah.
But when I was watching the movie the second time, and I was paying attention to every single dialogue, I was like, oh my God, this is so powerful concept. But that's the stuff, what if you have all the knowledge about how to produce movies?
Yeah.
Now you won't need to be in Hollywood. Now you can or not even in Bollywood. You can create your own movie from home. What if you have access to how to create the software using the Watson IBM technology?
Mm-hmm.
And there's no private anymore. Maybe somebody or some kid in Afghanistan and South Korea, even North Korea, might be able to find a solution for the $100 million Elon Musk call for how to eat or how to destroy the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. I would say it would maybe. No, we don't have the answer. We are just the guys promoting hey, be curious about this, and let yourself be curious about what we are used to say. Hey, this is the normality. This is how the things have been done for years. And remember, Roosevelt, nothing is written.
Nothing is.
Everything is up to you, and how to get curious and how to get to solve the problems. Matt.
Yeah. No, I love this, and all of the different thought exercises that you can use, right? That should be able to be, that you can apply immediately. Like you should be able to. And the idea is it's the idea of exercising your curiosity or feeding your curiosity, and that you just get in the habit of doing this. I think it'll open new insights and opportunities. Sometimes, hopefully where you are expecting them, but definitely where you're not expecting them. So.
Yeah, you just say one thing that maybe a lot of people ask. It's very common question that I have from many guys is how do you improve, or how do you train your curiosity, man?
Yeah, well, there's I guess luckily and unluckily there's more than one way. One of the ways is we're lucky because we get to have conversations. I think if you can. And a lot of entrepreneurs work in pre-COVID, right?
Yeah.
But that idea of, and this is, I hope, post-COVID, there is there's new enthusiasm, I guess, for working together, or at least meeting together. And because I think one of the best ways to get curious is together. And when possible, in a physical space, it's a lot easier to explore things, to share, like hand something to somebody, to share that same space. And who knows, maybe, again, being optimistic, maybe we realize now how much we've taken for granted the ability to meet and share a space together. So in the post-COVID world, when we are able to get back together, maybe we don't talk about cats or just like small talk or the weather or muffins or, whatever was on TV last night. Maybe when we get together, we're like, hey, this is valuable. In 3 months, there could be another pandemic and we can't, maybe there's a greater urgency or maybe a greater purpose to the conversations that we have together, which will open the doors for more curiosity, I think. Aside from that, that's my optimistic side. Aside from that, is, to find, read, ask questions. That sounds simple. And some of these you just have to get in the habit of doing. Yeah.
Matt, I don't know. Every time that I talk with you, I really enjoy the conversation because I think that I'm wiser every time that I go after a conversation with you because and it's not because I got a lot of knowledge, because my brain it acts really fast, thinking in different ideas, going from this one, but at the end, based on the knowledge that I previously had, adding the knowledge that I know that now I know that I need to have, I can create things. But I don't know, that the tweak of the story is being curious about something, and it's not just being curious about a thing, but being curious about a concept.
I like
that's even better. Therefore, the people that actually are looking this video, that is on YouTube or Facebook, and if you are watching live, so thank you for being here, guys. And if you are watching this video after it's being produced, we invited you. We're inviting you guys to be curious about concepts. What if we change this concept that we are used to? What if we change? And if you look at the story, at history, the main and the big changes in the humanity are because somebody asked himself, hey, what if this thing that we call slavery is not anymore a thing? What if we what if women get to vote? And it has no more than 100 years. No? It's very new.
Exactly.
What if we get prepared for the next pandemic? What if we actually are able to share everything that we take for granted, that we own? But let's just, of course, we are not the guys trying to have all the answers, but we are the guys helping you guys to get the right questions. To ask the right questions. And to get the right question, you have, I don't know, it might sound like a cliche, but you gotta move from your comfort zone. And it's not just being a revolutionary, but it's as creating revolutions. It's creating revolutions of thinking, revolutions of acting, revolutions of people. That creating movements. So, Matt, hey, what if we have access to all the knowledge, Matt?
A very curious world to explore.
Yeah, we have to be ready. I don't know. Let's start with this thing, Matt. I don't know. We can keep talking for hours, but just be. Yeah. So, Matt, as usual, it's really nice to see you. Hope to see you next week. This crazy platform that we have now, the people actually that are connected to our conversation. Very, very, very. Thank you so much for being here. We look forward to see you guys next week. And if you think for some reason that we can have something that might be useful for your friends, just invite them. Invite your friends. On LinkedIn, we will have the schedule for the next one. And this week, we will have the scheduling for Facebook and YouTube as well. So it makes easier to you to follow the episodes. So, Matt, looking forward to seeing you next week.
Thanks. Have a great week. Stay care.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.